I'm going to share my screen again. There you go. So my name is Oscar Velazquez, and I started working in economic development projects several years ago, around 12 years ago. And started working in technology in the Netherlands because I got into an incubator and I saw very, very cool projects doing good with technology. And I got inspired and just started getting involved into technology and innovation when I was living back in the Netherlands. And from there as well, I wanted to combine the economic development, social development, and sustainability into it. So I started working on my own projects and designing technologies myself. And from there, I learned a lot of skills of product development and technology development, and participated in a lot of hackathons. Actually, I like a lot to participate in hackathons. You won't believe, but last, I think like 3 weeks ago, with my design team, we got into a hackathon for lettuce. That sounds like really weird, but it was actually pretty funny because it was in Spain, and it was about improving the lettuce sector, the lettuce delivery sector, in different channels like retail and consumer consumers distribution for lettuces, and bringing technologies into it. So it sounds really funny, a hackathon for lettuces. So yeah, we participated with this hardware, and yeah, it was fun. Actually, I actually like to participate in hackathons many times in the year, because I usually help out teams or myself. When I want to prototype an idea, I just go and look for a hackathon somewhere in the world, and actually go and prototype. I think that's actually a good skill, a good way to prove your skills. Participate in a hackathon. So I feel how you feel now, and I understand. And I am glad you actually decided to participate in the Makers for Good Makeathon for 3D Experience World 3D Experience World 2022. So welcome. Well, that's a little bit about me. So you get to know me a little bit. And I work in this organization that I founded years ago. It's called Impact, MX. And it's a collaborative platform for impact, and there we design different products, processes, methods, services for good in a way. We want to help out the future, and I created one accelerator. We have an innovation center with 3 locations in Mexico City. We're actually moving to a new one, so hopefully you can visit sometime in Mexico, and we can meet in person. So, today, actually, I wanted to explain you a little bit what's going to happen, because you're going to pitch at some point into these really amazing experts that are going to hear you pitch. And just wanted to show you a little bit what you're going to get at some point after you are building up your pitch. So these are the 12 points that we work for years, always, in the Smart Impact Accelerator where I work. And here we defined these 12 points so that entrepreneurs can pitch to investors. So we're gonna use these. We're gonna help you out build a professional pitch within your, with the product that you're making. So we're gonna help you with the business, a little business strategy that you're gonna build in this first part that I explained yesterday. And then you're going to build as well, structure your product so that you can actually present it to this panel of experts. So hopefully, I'm going to send you these points as well, so you get to know them, and and actually I'm giving a masterclass about pitching with all these points. So we're going to help you out define the problem. Actually, you're going to work with the exercise that Gabriel Charles gave you. You're going to define your problem, the customer pain, current behavior, the size of that problem. It's really important to understand that problem in the world, in your city, or in a specific local behavior, the business opportunity that that problem brings, and that what's the customer side. So you talk about it, well, actually, Gabriel talked about it yesterday, and how much that represents in money as well, because it's really important. What is the business opportunity of that? And from there, your solution, which is the thing that you are going to be designing in 3D experience platform. Here, we want you to showcase the key features, the components, and the secret recipe of your product. And how does it work? You're going to design it, but also shows how does it work, that product, how easy it is to use it. And maybe we ask there for an infographic or an exploded view of 3 or 4 steps of how to use it and what are the key components. There's also a competitive analysis and a competitive advantage that you're going to build, and you're going to present your business model. So it's pretty easy, and we made it very easy for you to build these characteristics in your project. And hopefully you have a really nice project, and hopefully we help you a little bit advance your project. So today I'm talking about business models. And first, well, usually this is the cycle of an idea. You go from inspiration to learning, to be a founder, then startup, scaling up, and then to be a champion. You know, those unicorn companies that grow and that are valued at $1 billion at some point. No? But this is the cycle that all ideas come up, and in this underneath part of the graph, you see what happens here. Now, here's where all founders just struggle, and the majority of companies don't ever cross this little path here. Well, why business modeling? It's really important to have a business model. In a business model describes the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value. And this is a very good definition that Alexander Osterwalder, there's several books about him that he wrote with experts, and you can find a lot of information if you want to get to know more about business models. So it's important to actually talk the same language with all your team. It brings transparency when you're talking about a common thing. In the business model, actually, it's a 9 points methodology that Alex Osterwalder, he gathered out 500 people around the world, the top business people from different places that were talking about business, and he simplified in a really simple concept, in a really short concept, what business models are, and he simplified in 9 steps that are actually pretty good to understanding the functionality and how does it work any business. So it will help you innovate, because by innovating you will bring value to the world, and as well it will help you analyze the key elements of any business. You can read with specific lens. Using this methodology, you can read any business, you can understand any business. So it's really good because that's going to give you ideas by actually understanding the core functionality of any business in a very synthetic way. For this, you need to learn customer development, which is as well a process of coming from very early stages. You have to start in very early stages of a company. You have to start doing customer discovery, understanding a problem and how does it fit to the client need. From there, you're going to build MVPs, minimal viable products. You're going to test it, and from there you can propose some funnels for conversion. As you advance, then you're going to start doing customer validation. When your business model fits in the market, you actually are going to have a validated business model. And then you can actually plan there some sales and marketing. And if this doesn't work, uh, if you don't advance in customer validation, then you can pivot and again start the loop of redesigning your MVP, your minimal viable product, and then starting again until you test it, and then you reach the next phase, which is customer creation. And that's where you can scale your execution. From there, you are going to be building and scaling your organization and scaling up your operations. So this is customer development. And this is the lean startup method or the lean startup cycle, where in these MVPs, minimal viable products that you're building, you're going to build, measure, and learn. So basically, you're going to build a version of something, you're going to test it in the market, you're going to measure, and then from there, you're going to learn and rebuild again and improve it. And this is what they call the science of entrepreneurship, because it's using basically the scientific method and execution for building businesses. So when you build, you make a hypothesis, then you measure, and then you learn, and then build the experiment again and again and again. And this is the constant loop of innovation. They call it accounting of innovation. You're gonna learn how to account your innovations, and from there start iterating or creating different versions that are better every time. So it looks like a spiral. Now you start small and then you start a spiral that keeps growing. It's like a growing spiral. And why Lean Startup? So Lean Startup is a methodology as well. It's a really good book, and there's a lot of information from different authors like Eric Ries or Steve Blank. That they actually, in the platform, we recommend a few of their books that you can read them later. So Lean Startup is this methodology of this learning loop. And it basically tells that as well that it came from this software industry where, you know, that it's really hard because there's no patents there. Everything can be cloned, and it's constant adversity there. So a lot of people used to plan and create business plans for things, and actually no plan survives the first contact with customers. And we know this, so there's a huge adversity out there in the market. So whatever you create and whatever you plan probably is not going to survive the first contact with customers. So why not starting up since the beginning with customers, right? Now we know that most business fail. Now 9 out of 10 business fail, so that's a huge number. Only 2% of the companies that are ever built will survive. That's actually the numbers, the reality today. So there's a lot of waste. So after 2 years, only 98% of the companies, actually only 98% of the companies are dead. So there's a high mortality in companies. Why? Because, well, you know, that assumption is exactly a lie. It's equals a lie without a proof. So usually we're building assumptions and we're assuming things, but a lot of the businesses forget to prove it or to validate it and to actually prove that actually there's truth in there. Most of the people, and even engineers and designers, they build something without testing, and they see it as a complete truth. And that's why a lot of times you have a lot of businesses that well, don't have clients. The most probable cause of mortality in businesses is the lack of clients. So the customer development method is the heart of the Lean Startup method. So you actually should use it because this is a great practice to test and validate a business model. And if you combine that with a technology or an object, or that becomes a product. So the mix of a business model and an object an object or a technology or a system, it's actually becomes a product. You cannot have a product without a business model. You cannot have a business model without a great product, without a great technology or a great object that actually works. Give me 1 second. Actually, in my house, just give me 1 second because there's somebody at the door. Just need to open. I am sorry. Otherwise, they will keep reading. So let's just stop wasting time, actually. And so let's combine business modeling with great technology subjects or systems. So what is a startup? Do you know what a startup is? Well, let me just explain before what a company is. A company, a normal company, is an organization dedicated to generating business, selling products and services in exchange of income and profits. So this is what a company is, like a general definition of a company. So what is a startup? A startup is a temporary organization designed to seek replicable and scalable business models. This is a definition by Steve Blank, one of those authors that I just mentioned. As well, it's an institution dedicated to providing a product or service under circumstances of extreme uncertainty, what I was telling you before. However, regardless of size, industry, and sector. So it doesn't matter what size, industry, or sector it is. So this is another good definition that I found from Eric Ries. He's the author of the Lean Startup Method. So what is a startup? It's a temporary organization that is in constant search for business models and for creating value that is as well replicable, it's scalable, it's profitable. That's super important. If it's not profitable, it's not a business. It's in constant search for sources of growth. That's super important, and that's actually finding different business models. And as well as I believe that impact is very important. So it's always looking for forces of good to actually create and scale its impact. And as well, you are looking for creating new sources of value. And this is the modern management of a company. This is a startup is the modern management of a company. And it exists in an ecosystem of uncertainty. So what is a business model? A business model is exactly the same as a hypothesis. So as I mentioned before, you always take yourself from this point of view where you know that whatever you're creating is an assumption, and a set of assumptions is the same as a hypothesis. However, when you're designing a product, whatever object, technology, or system you're designing, and whatever business model, it's only a hypothesis that you need to prove that is true. So remember that. If you're already in that mindset, it's going to make things easier. You should never, ever fall in love with your product, but always fall in love with the problem you're trying to solve, and create hypotheses. And then from there, go to creating different minimal viable products, MVPs, and test them always as if you were in a laboratory. So as if you were in a lab, in a scientific lab. So a business model is only a hypothesis. So a startup, it's an experiment that you're building in this lab. So always take it in that way. Take it as you are in a lab and you're doing experiments all the time. So starting up with business models. So you should always be testing. If you start testing and designing these iterations or these different versions of business model until you actually get the right one. So start testing, start designing, start improving all the time, And it's a common practice, it's a mentality. You start just, understanding and reading these different business models when you understand this methodology. And when you start reading, then you're gonna start analyzing and then understanding in a profound way different business models from different organizations. And this will help you out improve your own business models. So every time you design a product, you should always be reading it with these superpowers. I think that the business model is one of a kind skills that everyone should understand. And when you have it, and you know how to read any organization and how does it work, how does it create value, how does it create economics, I think that's a great skill to understand. So, and then from there, when you start doing your own and testing your own, it becomes easier. And this will actually help you out reduce any risk in any business idea that you will have in the future. So from there, you start doing customer discovery and customer development through doing experiments. And there's different ways, there's different really good books, there's a lot of information out there. Actually, we gather up in the platform of the meta platform of Makers for Good. We gather up a lot of content for you, so it becomes really easy. We call them sprints, and we just put them there for you to just actually start doing it. So my role today is to facilitate your understanding of that curation of content that we got for you, so that you can start building MVPs and testing those MVPs in the market with real users. You cannot test an MVP without real users. So this will improve your business models. You should always have these, as you go and build MVPs, minimal viable products, as well, you should sharpen your testing skills. And in this way, you can scale up your organization as I just explained. And if you make this a common practice and you train your teams to do it, it's actually a pretty cool culture inside an organization that everyone is always thinking about improving and about finding ways to improve your business model, to improve your technologies or systems or objects in order to become really great products. I really like a quote from somebody in Y Combinator that says that it's easier to scale a product that people love than a product that people like. And that's actually so true, no? That when you fall in love with a product, it's actually a result, today is actually a result of a lot of research and testing and constant improving those products that you actually love, and sometimes you're addicted to them. I think that's actually not just, it didn't become out of the blue, but actually it's premeditated design into product development. So this is a great skill, I think, the business model for your organization, for your team, for yourself, to have it in your repertoire. So how do we go from a good idea to a validated business model? So you're going to start in this constant chaos, because as you do research and testing, there's a lot of information that you need to synthesize, that you need to make it concise and simple. But that only becomes about doing research and doing benchmarking and analyzing your environment, and from there understanding in an organized way. And this structure of business model design is going to actually help you out. And this will actually help you not make any mistakes in the future. So basically, we call this as well evidence-based entrepreneurship. So basically, is you are bringing evidence as you start testing and designing products, building, and then from there testing and learning, you're gonna be bringing evidence. So this is the thing that we're looking for, like you actually bring evidence in your decision making. So the designing business models is an iterative process. So it's a constant improvement. So you go from an idea to a business model to a value proposition. Actually, Gabriel Charles yesterday explained what a value proposition is, and he gave you some tools. And as an expert entrepreneur investor, he as well curated a lot of content and his vision as well of how should you actually, he gave you his best in order to curate a lot of content for you to start designing, testing business models. So my role today is actually to give you all the method and the understanding for business model, and Gabriel gave you the value proposition. So testing is reducing risk. You're gonna design key hypotheses, key experiments, and key insights as you go along with users. They're gonna give you a lot of insight, a lot of information that is actually helping you out, reduce uncertainty and reduce risks. So as you go along designing your business models, you're gonna actually reduce or increase the viability. Sorry, reduce the viability risk, or as well. There's desirability risk that you're going to reduce, and the feasibility risks. These are really three concepts that are actually embedded in this business model that will help you out reduce risking by testing. So this is a common graph. So you're going to start from this left side. You're going to build prototypes, ideating. You have this constant loop assessing the needs of the market. And actually, this is when you already think of that and you decide, you make decisions here. It's by actually in this constant infinite loop is by prototyping, testing, prototyping, testing. And this is actually the learning curve that I was telling you from Lean Startup. It's about building, test, building, build, measure, and learn. So building, measure, learn, building, measure, and learning. So this is a way to actually design a business model. And here you're going to build a team, and then you're going to reach your goals here. Hopefully you are refining through building a great business model and you're creating something amazing. So experimentation is the only thing that can help you out take better decisions. So this is the loop from business model design to testing. And I'm gonna focus on this today from all the content that we generated for you, so that we help you synthesize your hypothesis. And from there, from ideating, generating these ideas, prototyping, and synthesizing ideas into one specific method, which is the business model canvas. And by doing this business model design, you actually, when you generate your ideas, it's basically the first phase, prototyping, and then just synthesizing them and test. And so you can bring them to test. The business model consists of 9 points, basically. You first start always with the customer, like this, defining your customers. So describing the different groups, the different demographies and psychographies that the customers have, understanding behavior, and from there bringing basically the value proposition. So the first step is the customer segment. Second step is the value propositions. Then you go to the channels. How do you get and how do you reach customers? What kind of relationships do customers want? So describing the types of relationships that a company, this is what a company establishes with specific customer segments. And from there, you go to the revenue streams, describing how the company makes money and how do you actually generate income from different sources. So there is where you can also ideate different forms of making money or making income. And that's actually the first part. From there, you actually start building the second part, which is how do you make that business work? So there you describe the key resources, which are the most important assets that any company requires to make a business model work. Then the key activities that are the most important things that a company must do in order to make the business model work. Then the key partners, these are things that you can actually outsource out of the key activities, the key activities that some partners actually, or a network of partners like suppliers and allies help your business model work, and the cost structure. So these are the 9 steps, the 9 key steps that you should be ideating, prototyping, and testing for your business model. And this is what the Alex Osterwalder from Strategizer built several years ago. And this actually has helped a lot of businesses change and understand how to create value in a faster way. This is actually a great contribution to the business world, because in the very early stages, it just helps you out design better businesses. So as I mentioned, you have here the customer segments, the value propositions, and how do you create, how you distribute that value to the customers, and what kind of relationships you will have with them, and how do you make money. So actually, you're gonna fill in this in the Meta platform from Makers for Good, and you're gonna send us your answers, and then there's some special evaluators that are going to help you out and evaluating and giving feedback for your business model, and from there you're going to gain some points. So please, before sending it, just read well, see all the content, all the resources that we curated for you, so you can strengthen that business model. Don't overthink. That's my recommendation. And as yesterday, already Gabriel Charles explained what the value proposition is, and how do you go from the value map to the customer profile to create a value proposition. So basically, by creating a customer profile, which is the first part of the business model, the customer segments, and then the value proposition, that's actually 2 things that you're going to build. This is the value proposition gamma. So those are 2 things you're going to build in order for your model business, so for your business model to be ready to be tested. So by testing, basically, you're going to make a lot of assumptions and create a hypothesis. Remember that a hypothesis is a set of assumptions ready to be proved, or ready to actually be proved to be true. From there, I recommend that you prioritize the most important hypothesis that you have and just start testing. So to create a good business hypothesis that you believe to be true, I believe that you can start writing a phrase like, we believe that a millennial partners will subscribe to monthly educational science projects for their kids. So just start designing and writing phrases that actually are assumptions that are ready to be proven true. So I'll leave you some characteristics you will see in what we prepare for you in Miro. I'm going to start using Miro there. So we actually have this whiteboard, so you can write anything there, and then you can just put everything you want there, videos, content, anything you find valuable for your business. You can upload it, and then you have access to these Miro boards. And so basically, we want you with the business model to create feasibility, desirability, and viability. So feasibility means, can we do this? Desirability means, do they want this? And viability means, should we do this? So these are the 3 different ways of actually having these 3 characteristics in your business model. So we're going to go to Miro. I'm going to explain a little bit about the Miro. I'm a facilitator, really, because we created all the content, and we just want to push a little bit to help you out to actually build this and embed this in your projects. And just as a reminder, the next masterclass is going to be about pitching for the investors. So just that's a note. So I'm going to move into the Miro boards, and I'm going to bring it in so that I can show you. 1 second. Let me just take this down. And here you go. So we created this whiteboard for you that you can write, you can post notes, you basically can put a lot of really cool things here. Miro is really easy to use. It's one of the sponsors for this Makeathon. And so this will help you out. So we created, this is actually how the platform looks like. So it's exactly the same as Miro, and you will see it same in the platform. So you will see here how many days you have left to complete this mission, or this loot box, we call it. So this is the business model loot box. And this is where you define your business model for your product and create a solid value proposition. And you deliver a business model canvas in the platform. So this will actually give you 25 points. And so this is what we want to build in your business model. You see the 9 steps that you're gonna fill in, and you're gonna complete your business model. That's the mission deliverables. The key result is a business model. So you build your business model. And the mission deliverables is completing your business model and testing it with customers. So this is how the exercise look in the platform. You're gonna gain a total of 50 points. Actually, it's 25 points, but because it's the second exercise, you can gain up to 50 points by completing this. You will find my the master class or this facilitation process in here. So you can always look at it in the platform. You will find some mentors that you can as well reserve for mentorship. You have 30 minutes advice from them. So they can help you out with value proposition or with business model. So you can actually reserve each one in the platform. You have some resources there that we recommend to buy, like some books and different things. And also we created a lot of content, like these playlists, very specific for business modeling. And so you can have it here, and you have some downloads like the business model canvas and some other things. And sometimes you will get some deals as well from partners. In this one, we only get to give you the Miro whiteboards. So yeah, so you will see that you have 8 different contents here, and just look at them. They're really short. They're going to help you out. And with this, it's actually like, really short way you can actually find them. So you will see the business model Canva exercise, fill in the formula here. There's actually some readings here that it explains you how to fill it in. You will see what you're filling in the bottom. And from here, you will see where you are. And there, just have to fill in the 9 steps and then complete it. And this will start giving you possible points, current scores. And then from there, the evaluator releases the actual score. And from there, you can get up to 25 points in this loot box. And this is how you actually get some points. And there's a final exercise after each track, after you do the value proposition and business model. That's one track, that's the business development track. When you complete those exercises or those loot boxes, you gain the points, and that's how you compete a little bit. And by gaining points by solving missions or these loot boxes. And yeah, so that's about it. It's pretty simple. And I'm gonna open the microphone for questions before I start. I'm gonna stop recording now. And are there any questions?